Do you feel like you're just drowning in debt and you can't see a way you could possibly come up from underneath of it? Well, one thing that might be available to you is something called Chapter 7 bankruptcy, also known as liquidation bankruptcy. The reason someone would apply for Chapter 7 is because they're trying to discharge their debts. But it's important to remember that only certain debts are qualified to discharge under Chapter 7. And these are unsecured debts like your credit card loans, if you have personal loans that are unsecured, payday loans, or things like utility bills that you haven't paid. Those can all be discharged under Chapter 7. However, there are many loan types that are not qualified for Chapter 7, such as student loans, your mortgage loan, auto loans, and even things like child support and alimony. Now, whenever you file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, basically what they do is they take all your assets and put them into a bankruptcy estate that's managed by a trustee who sells them off to pay back your creditors. However, not all of your assets are eligible to go into that bankruptcy estate. You have what's known as exempt assets and non-exempt assets. Exempt assets are assets that they're not able to put into that bankruptcy estate. Things like your retirement accounts, a portion of your mortgage equity, a portion of your primary car equity, and then things like household goods and clothing and so on. Things that they can access, however, are any cash you have on hand or in checkings or savings, if you have any taxable investment accounts, if you have luxury items or second homes or second vehicles. All of those can be put into that bankruptcy estate to be sold off to pay off your creditors. The big benefit, though, is that on the other side of Chapter 7 is that you no longer are legally required to pay back any of those debts. They can no longer put you into collections to try to collect on those debts. And you're basically giving yourself a fresh financial start. So you might be asking yourself, why wouldn't everyone just take advantage of Chapter 7 bankruptcy just to wipe out their debts and then just keep buying a bunch of more stuff and then wipe out their debts again? Well, there's a big downside to doing bankruptcy, and this is a massive negative impact to your credit score, which impacts your ability to get future lending products such as a mortgage or an auto loan or a student loan or whatever it is. And this remains on your credit for a significant period of time. It'll stay on there for a period up to 10 years, and during that 10 years, it's going to be very difficult for you to borrow any loans, and during that time, it's going to be hard for you to build back up your credit. You are also limited to only filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy once every 8 years, so this is not something that you could do year over year on repeat. So if you're really struggling with your debt and you feel like you've exhausted all of your options, Chapter 7 bankruptcy is something that you can consider, but you also need to consider all the downsides and risks as well before you decide to take that option.